Today, we really have to be prepared because we are at LACMA, or we call the Los Angeles County of the Museum of the Arts. And we met there, I call him the master of the LACMA. Why? Because he's really master of the Chinese art. He is Stephen Little. Nice to meet you, Stephen.
Nice to meet you.
And I'm from the Chinese community at the Chinese TV station. We call the Zhou Zheng show. And of course, it's a local for Los Angeles audience.
Nice.
Also, it's a program to the China, Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan. Of course, I'm forever. So I want to know, you are been the creator for 40 years. I read your biography. And how long you do research of the Chinese art?
I've been studying Chinese art since I was in college in the early 1970s at Cornell.
1970s?
Yeah,
Wow.
probably 1973 I first studied.
Even China and American just have the diploma
Yes.
to have the country relationship.
I started studying Chinese language in 1975 at UCLA.
UCLA.
Where I got my master's degree. I first went to China in 1986 when I was doing my research on my PhD at Yale University on Ming Dynasty painting. So I've been going to China since '86.
Since 1980, which city you were in?
I went to Beijing, Shenyang, Nanjing, Tianjin, Suzhou, Shanghai, and Guangzhou.
Okay, what the first impression you got from China at that time?
Well, to be honest, how bad my Chinese was the first day.
You're bad.
My spoken Chinese.
Okay.
I studied 2 years. I actually started learning when I arrived in Beijing.
Okay.
And I had to sleep. I'm a study of I'm a student of ancient China.
You're ancient China. Okay.
I'm not really a specialist on contemporary Chinese art. So I am very impressed I was immediately impressed on the just how old and rich Chinese culture is. I am a specialist on painting and calligraphy. I do a lot with ceramics. But for me, it was very important to go to Beijing and to Shenyang and all of these cities, Shanghai. I study every period in Chinese history from Xin Shiqi Shidai to the present.
Wow.
So Shang and Zhou and Han. I've been lucky to work in museums in America that have very strong Chinese collections, like Cleveland, like San Francisco, Chicago. So I devoted my life to studying China, and I think for LACMA, for this museum, we want to be a leader in promoting Chinese art and culture in America, not just in Los Angeles, but in the US. We are very lucky to have a director, Michael Govan, who really believes in our friendship with China. The fact that we are merging with a museum in Shanghai, the Youth Museum, we will be the first American museum with a branch or a platform in China.
Wow, I've heard of the first time for me to have heard of it. I've been in China a couple of years. I've never heard of it. I've never seen that. And maybe I go back, I will see that. Okay.
Yes.
And I want to know, even today I will see a lot of the matters of the materials art from China.
Yes.
I still saw a little bit that there is a cultural heritage. Even though I saw the very modern, very abstract, I saw some like the clothing or something that's still the cultural heritage. So when you set up the exhibition, how you choose these artworks or how you choose Chinese artists?
That's a very good question. The choice of the artworks was made by a very famous curator, Wu Hong, who teaches at the University of Chicago. He is from Beijing. He got his PhD at Harvard in the 1980s. He is one of the top stars in the world of curating and studying contemporary Chinese art, although his PhD was on, I think, the Han Dynasty. This is his exhibition. He is a guest curator for us. But I think the first part of your question is very interesting because you're seeing materials here which have a long history.
Yeah.
This work, for example, is Huanghua Li. This is the most famous wood for Ming Dynasty furniture. Qing Dynasty furniture.
Now it's a heritage.
Yes, you only can find it in Hainan. The work by Liu Jianhua, who works in porcelain, this work Black Flame in the other room, these are made at Jingdezhen. Jingdezhen is the most famous city in China for porcelain, going back to the Ming Dynasty, going back to the Yuan Dynasty.
Yes.
It's amazing to me how many of these contemporary artists have a deep understanding of Chinese history, of the history of Chinese art, of the material themselves, and often they're using materials that have a long history in a very modern, very contemporary way. But if you ask them about Chinese history, they can talk to you, sometimes better than a professor, because they themselves have studied, and they do calligraphy every day, and they do, they are really deeply involved in antique Chinese culture, but they are creating the most contemporary works. So for me, this is the first show of contemporary Chinese art at LACMA. It's the first really big show of contemporary Chinese art in Los Angeles. I think this show will be up into early January of next year. I really hope that people who come here, whether they know a lot or very little about China, they will recognize something of their own experience of the world in these works. Because you can teach people about a culture like China very fast in a museum. You might have to read 20 books to have this one experience, the same level of knowledge and learning that you have in 1 hour here.
Cool. I really get impressed all the expression even in Chinese. But first time I'm walking, I'm not really careful see all the artworks. I cannot tell this is from China. They're Chinese artists because give me the really world culture, very international. There is contemporary art and abstract. I get impressed. So as a creator of the 40 years in the world, is very master and the expertise of the Chinese art. I think the world culture art, the master of the and expertise the world culture. Also, if they do very deep research and deep study of the Chinese history and Chinese culture and Chinese art, of course, and diners. And I want to ask you, what you really want to bring all these artworks? What do you really want your viewers, your audience feel?
America and China are actually very old friends. We were allies in the Second World War. And I think on several levels, I think an exhibition like this, and because this is art from China, it's a mirror of contemporary Chinese society and culture, but culture always transcends politics. Politicians come and go, like the wind. The art is much deeper. The art tells you something about the culture, and I think it's very important for Americans to understand China. We have so many things that we use every day that are made in China. Our computers are put together in China. Our shoes, our children's toys, most of them are made in China. It's critical that Americans understand China. Now, Chinese culture is much older. It has a very different way of looking at the world. But at the end, we're both human beings. We have the same problems on a day-to-day level. And I think this show, I hope, you asked what will our visitors experience here. I hope that they will come away understanding that Chinese culture today is very sophisticated, very global. These artists are many of them have lived in New York for many years. And I think if they can come away understanding that Chinese and Americans are more alike than different. Our histories are different, but our experience today, our problems today are often the same problems. I want visitors to this exhibition to be curious. I want them to see things that they have never seen before, that speak to issues they care about. If they can see their face in this mirror, that's very powerful. And sometimes in exhibitions in a museum like this, we're not here to give answers, we're here to ask questions. The question stays in their mind. We don't have to give the answer necessarily, but the question is very powerful, just to ask a question. What is the meaning of these works of art? How do they speak to us? That's very powerful. That's a responsibility that we have also.
Thank you.
Thank you. So nice.
Right now, we are at the LACMA Los Angeles County Museum of the Arts. And right now I met the Susanna of the Pharaoh. She is a co-creator of the Chinese art. Right now, today we are, audience and I were visiting all the allure of the material, the materials art from China. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, and nice to meet you, Susanna. I want to introduce why you set up this very unique, but give me the very world culture and international culture of the art.
So this exhibition, exhibitions have been done in the past about material art in general, but China has a unique interaction with material art. So a lot of the artists in this exhibition have very close personal relationships with the materials that they're using and have chosen to use one unconventional material throughout much of their artistic practice. This was the idea of one of the other curators of this exhibition, Wu Hong, from the University of Chicago, and the Smart Museum of Art. So he brought this idea of bringing together all of these different artists who have unique relationships with unconventional artistic materials into one single exhibition, and that's how the Allure of Matter came to be.
Okay, so you have been to China, or
Yes,
you do research of the China, so you met all the Chinese artists, right?
A lot of these artists
You haven't met them to research and talk about them. So why you choose this artist? I know in China there are a lot of the artists, so why you choose that? But honestly, I saw all of the materials art from China. I'm Chinese also. I lived there for 30 years, but I'm very impressed by the old exhibition.
Glad to hear that.
So I just wonder why you choose this art, such an artist, Chinese artist.
Of course. So these artists are the artists who we found who are using unconventional materials. For example, Cai Guocheng, the artist whose work is behind us, has been using gunpowder in his practice for decades now, since the 1990s, since the 1980s actually. And obviously, gunpowder is not a traditional material that you would be using in artwork. You expect Chinese artists to be using materials like ink, or later oil painting, or maybe different ceramic materials. But gunpowder is not a material that you would be expecting. So all of the artists from this exhibition are using materials that are either unexpected or carry a significant personal meaning to them, which has created these strong relationships with their materials.
Cool. So all of the exhibition, all the artworks looks very abstract to me. But I saw there one that abstract, like the one exhibition. I heard of the use of 500,000 secrets to create the one is artwork. When you choose this artist, I don't know what's his name. I say I'm pretty sure.
Xu Bing?
Xu Bing. Okay. So why you choose this artwork? Because it's kind of like very modern, very not about Chinese, even American, even Africa, even European people can do that. Why you choose that from this one?
So Xu Bing actually has a very interesting history with tobacco, which is his chosen material for this exhibition. In the early 2000s, he visited Duke University, and Duke University has a strong history of a relation to the tobacco industry. While he was working on an artist's residency at Duke University, he became very fascinated with the history of tobacco there, and also with the fact that the Duke family and the American Tobacco Company brought cigarettes into China as early as the late 19th century. So, given that the tobacco industry has affected China so much, especially in contemporary life, where about 40% of cigarettes are consumed in China today, Xu Bing has created a series of artworks called the Tobacco Project, which are related to both this history of the American tobacco industry and the tobacco industry coming into China.
Cool. Okay. So, as a full-time working for LACMA, like Los Angeles County Museum of Arts, and you are co-creator of the Chinese art, what do you really want to bring to your audience?
Well, I hope that I think that a lot of people haven't seen materials like this being used, as well as some people are not super aware of how the contemporary art world in China is today, especially in the Western world. That's not necessarily a part of our average artistic knowledge. So I want to bring this understanding, this wonder about what's going on in the Chinese contemporary art world to LACMA and to our visitors here. Thank you
I'm very
much.
happy
Thank
to
you.
interview. Thank you.
Thank you.